Hey YouTube, what's going on? Snowflarky's Emos here today with another deck profile. Today I am talking about my Fang of Critias Phantasm Spiral deck. So Fang of Critias is of course one of the iconic legendary dragons from the original Duel Monsters anime, the Seal of Orichalcos arc, and it's definitely my favorite of the three. I love trap cards, I like the specific fusions that Fang of Critias makes, so very much enjoy these cards in this deck. And unlike most players who have used these cards with the Layer of Darkness deck, I found a decent home for them in a variant of Phantasm Spiral, which is one of my favorite decks of all time. Also a very trap card heavy deck, and just a nice bit of support for this strategy. So with that said, let's get into the cards. Starting off with our monsters, I am playing 3 copies of Megalo Smasher X. Megalo Smasher X, of course, is a big 2000 attack water normal monster, which makes it the best normal monster to be playing with Phantasm Spirals, because we can easily normal summon it out of our hand. It's got 2000 attack, and the dinosaur typing is very important because we want it to be different than our dragon typing for the fact that we're going to be playing There Can Only Be One. So 3 copies of this, just to make sure we see it. And last for the monsters, I'm playing 2 copies of Planet Pathfinder. Planet Pathfinder is a pretty interesting card. You contribute this card to add a field spell from your deck to your hand. Our field spell is pretty much the lifeblood of this deck, so we definitely want to make sure we get it. So having Planet Pathfinder to summon and then search for our field spell is a good enough reason to run it, because we really want to see it. And that is it for the monsters. Next, going into our spells, I am playing 3 copies of the Fang of Critias. The Fang of Critias, of course, is our main spell card that will get us into the Critias fusion. The card is always treated as Legendary Dragon Critias, and of course, we can send a trap card from our hand or field to the graveyard that is listed on the fusion summon of a Fang of Critias fusion monster, and special summon that fusion monster from the extra deck. Now we can only activate this card once per turn. Main reason we're playing 3 is because this deck is built around it, and this card isn't searchable in any easy way. So we just want to have 3 of it so that we will definitely see it. And with this card, we can make our Critias fusions. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Pacifist the Phantasm City. Crazy card that enables this whole Phantasm strategy. The card's always treated as Umi. Now you can't normal summon or special summon effect monsters during the turn you activate any of these cards' effects, so that's pretty important because your Fang of Critias monsters are effect monsters, so you want to summon them before Fang of Critias would trigger for any reason, but that's fine. What does Phantasm City do? Of course, if you normal or special summon exactly 1 normal monster, like Megalo Smasher X, you can add a Phantasm Spiral card from your deck to your hand, which is pretty sick. Definitely going to be trap cards we're going to be using there. And of course, one of the real great things about this deck is once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect and we don't control a token, we can special summon a token, which is a level 8 worm type monster with 2000 attack and 2000 defense. So that just gives us a really big body on board. The token counts as a normal monster, so we'll trigger the Pacifist Search, thinning our deck. And, you know, that token is really hard to get rid of, because if your opponent plays Raigeki and the token goes away, well, then it immediately comes back because of how this card is worded, that after your opponent activates a card or effect and you don't have a token, you just get one. So it's a pretty sweet card that keeps this whole deck moving. We're playing 1 Terraforming because we want to search it. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. So other than going into our Critias Fusions, which we can just max out at 3, we're not going to use our extra deck, and getting the extra cards is really nice. We're going to banish 6 extra deck cards face down to draw 2. Now, that's pretty nice, especially because we can mitigate losing our Critias Fusions by just maxing out on them, especially because there's nothing else we can really pull out of the extra deck. So we might as well. We'll definitely still have Critias Fusions around to summon even after an Extravagance is resolved. And last for the spells, I'm playing 3 copies of Pot of Duality. Pot of Duality, of course, reveals the top 3 cards of our deck, adds 1 to our hand, and in exchange we can't special summon. Unless we have Fang of Critias ready to go, we're not going to special summon during our turn. So there's going to be plenty of turns where we're not special summoning, and Pot of Duality for a key card, such as a trap card we need, especially if it's our Phantasm City, or maybe one of our Floodgates that's going to slow the game down so that our Critias strategy can pop off. is very useful. We can definitely delay it for a turn to search our deck for a key card. And that is it for the spells. Going into our trap cards, I am playing 3 copies of Mirror Force. Mirror Force, of course, the iconic battle trap. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, we destroy all attack position monsters our opponent controls. And of course, Mirror Force is the trap card that allows us to make Mirror Force Dragon of the Critias fusions. Mirror Force Dragon, I think, is the coolest and maybe the best of the Critias monsters that we play in this deck. And of course, Mirror Force is just a pretty good card, so we definitely want to be playing 3 out of it because we can use it as Mirror Force, we can fuse it away, etc. Next, we're playing 2 copies of Ring of Destruction. Pretty cool card. During our opponent's turn, we can target a face-up monster our opponent controls whose attack is less than or equal to the life points, to their life points. We can destroy the face-up monster, and if we do, we take the damage equal to its attack, and then our opponent does. So that one's pretty cool. It's a 1 monster removal, which isn't bad, and of course the life point burn is nice to help close out the game quickly, and this is the trap card that allows us to make our Ring of Destruction Dragon. For our last trap card we are playing 1 Tyrant Wing. Tyrant Wing is not too useful as a trap card in its own right in this deck. We can target a dragon type monster on the field, and it of course will gain 400 attack and defense, and it can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase, which is pretty cool. This can be used on one of our Critias Dragon fusions if it's already out on the field, but other than that, we're not playing any main deck dragons that can make use of it. And of course, Tyrant Wing is used to make Tyrant Burst Dragon, which is a really good Critias fusion, one that I really like, so definitely worth still playing a copy of Tyrant Wing in there. Next up, we're playing our suite of Phantasm Spiral Traps, 3 Phantasm Spiral Battle. This, of course, is a cool card. If all monsters you control are normal monsters, minimum of 1, target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. So this card's nice because we can search it out of the deck with Pacifist the Phantasm City. And of course, Phantasm Spiral Battle can be played directly out of our hand while we control Umi, which Pacifist the Phantasm City does count as Umi, which is pretty sweet. So that's pretty nice. What's important to note is that we can only use this card when we only control normal monsters. So when we are about to summon our Critias fusions, basically you want to burn these out of your hand and just destroy things, which isn't that bad. Still get to use it in our deck, and we can just play it before we commit to our Critias fusion, and it's not that bad of a deal. Next up, I'm playing 2 copies of Sea Stealth Attack. Sea Stealth Attack is an awesome continuous trap card for this deck. So when this card's activated, you can activate Umi from your hand or graveyard, so that's pretty nice. If we lost our Phantasm City, it's in the graveyard, we can put it right back. And then, of course, while Umi is face up on the field, we can activate these effects. Once per turn, you can banish a water monster you control this turn. Face up spell and trap cards we control cannot be destroyed. So that's pretty nice. Makes our Floodgate and our field spell indestructible. And we can even use that to tag out monsters like Megalo Smasher X to dodge like board wiping effects or something like that. Or, of course, we can tag out our token to resummon our token and then get our Phantasm City Surge. So just a lot of usefulness in this card. Then also, at the start of the damage step, if your water monster, whose original level is 5 or higher, battles an opponent's monster, destroy the opponent's monster. So our token, of course, is level 8, which means our Sea Stealth Attack is just going to use the token to destroy cards by effect instead of battle, which is pretty cool. Can remove, monsters that have a much larger stat than anything we have on the field. Next up, we're playing There Can Be Only One. Very powerful card. Good win con in this deck. There Can Be Only One says that each player can only control 1 monster of each type on the field and would have to send any other types they control to the graveyard. So what's nice is we have a different variety of types. Our Megalo Smasher X's are, of course, dinosaurs. Our token is a worm monster, and any Critias fusion we have on the field is going to be a dragon. So, this card doesn't hinder us down and will outright win us a game against most opponents. For this kind of strategy to work, we definitely need to slow things down, and There Can Be Only One is a great way to do that. Definitely the main win con powerhouse of this deck. Additionally, I'm playing 2 copies of Summon Limit. This isn't a very special summon combo deck. We're going to be only summoning twice at max a turn. I guess theoretically we could do more with the token, but we don't need to. So Summon Limit is just a powerful card that'll help us win the game. Neither player can summon more than 2 times. A lot of decks don't like that card, so it's going to help slow things down to our point where Fang of Critias fusions can pop off. Next, we're playing 2 copies of Fist of the Unrivaled Tenyi. When a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated while you control a face-up non-effect monster, this is either Megalo Smasher X or our token from Phantasm City, we can negate the activation. And of course, if this set card we control is destroyed by our opponent's card, we can special summon a non-effect monster from our extra deck, which is nice. We're going to put some of those targets in and just gets us a body if this gets wiped, which is pretty nice. A little more reliable than that, because we don't need the token or whatnot on the field, is 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. Pay half our life points to negate a summon or a spell or trap card activation. This can protect our Floodgates, our setup board, our Critias Fusions. Just very nice tools to have. And last, for the main deck, I'm playing 1 copy of Jar of Avarice. This is a card I like quite a bit in a few strategies. We can target 5 cards in our graveyard except Jar of Avarice, shuffle all of them into the deck, and if we do, draw 1 card for each. So just a way to reload our decks with targets. We can make use of Mirror Forces and Ring of Destructions again, put our Phantasm Spiral Battles back in, put our monsters back in if we lost them, reload our Solemn Judgments, and just keep things that we have access to, which is pretty nice. And, makes it a definite good card. We can reuse Fang of Critias, whatever we need. It's just a good one-of to have a little reload option in this deck. And that's it for the main deck. Now, going into our extra deck, we are playing 3 copies of Mirror Force Dragon. Mirror Force Dragon, of course, is a great card for this deck. This is the fusion that Fang of Critias brings out when you use it with Mirror Force. Now, when a monster you control is targeted for an attack by an opponent's card effect, except during the damage step, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. So that's nice. Back row monsters just destroys everything just for getting targeted for an attack or by a card effect. So Mirror Force Dragon can be pretty obnoxious to deal with. It's also got 2800 attack, which is very impressive. So it's got strong attack, can wipe our opponent's board. Just a sick card, very fun to use. Next up, we're playing 3 copies of Destruction Dragon. Destruction Dragon here has 2000 attack and 3000 defense. It's the Critias fusion between Fang of Critias and Ring of Destruction. Now, once per turn, you can target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. If it was a monster, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. So that's pretty nice. Can pop a back row, can pop a monster, can do burn damage. It'd be nice if it was a quick effect, but we'll still take it. It's a good target to have. Very useful. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Tyrant Burst Dragon. Tyrant Burst Dragon here is pretty sweet. It must be special summoned with Fang of Critias and Tyrant Wing. Now this card's got 2900 attack, and in an awesome fashion, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls, which is pretty sick. That's a whole board wipe of attacking, which is pretty sick. 2900, that'll clear most. And then, of course, it has the option that we can target a face-up monster you control, equip this monster to that card, this card to that monster. It gains 400 attack, and also it can make 3 attacks during the battle phase. So if there's not a lot of monsters, like if the board is already cleared, and we go into Tyrant Burst Dragon, then we can give our token, or Megalo Smasher X, an additional 400 attack, 2,400. That is easily like 7,200 damage that we can do directly, which could help end a game. And it's very nice. I've definitely closed out a number of games with that before. So that's pretty good. Those are all the Critias fusions we are running, all of them maxed out at 3 so that we keep them in the deck even after playing Extravagance. Going forward, we are also playing 3 copies of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. This is just the largest this is just the highest attack non-effect monster we can bring out of our extra deck if our popped Fist of the Unrivaled Tenyi is destroyed. It's a 4,500 attack monster. Now it is a dragon, which does kind of suck because that means if we get there it can only be 1 and we still have this. We're not going to be able to go into Critias fusions. So if that bothers you, you can play Master of Oz, which is a 4,200 attack beast monster. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Gagagigo the Risen. I'd probably bump this up to 3 if I grab myself another copy. What's nice about this one is this is a water monster with 2950 attack. Now 2950 is of course less attack than 4500, but this monster being a water monster is pretty nice, which means we can tag it out for Sea Stealth attack. And while it's tagged out with Sea Stealth attack, we can play our Phantasm Spiral battle cards again. So just a good option to have for that scenario. Lastly, to fill up the last extra deck spot, I'm just playing 1 Gem Knight Pearl, 2600 attack, non-effect monster. Requires 2 level 4s to make, so we can make it, because both Planet Pathfire and Megalo Smasher are level 4s, but not something we would normally do, just in here to kind of fill up space. An option to summon off of Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi, of course. And that is it for the extra deck. So that is it for my Fang of Critias Phantasm Spiral deck, of course. Very fun deck that I enjoy playing quite a bit. I love the Fang of Critias monsters so much, and the ability to combine them with Phantasm Spiral and make use of their Floodgate protecting power slows the game down so that this strategy can actually pull off wins, and that just feels awesome. I love it. So let me know what you think. Love to know what you're doing with Fang of Critias, you know, where you're playing it in. Are you playing it with Layer of Darkness? And maybe you got it in something else. But either way, it's very cool stuff. I appreciate you all checking out the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.